the Purple Positivity Podcast for February the 23rd, 2018. This would actually have been my great-grandmother's 100th birthday. So, happy birthday, Grandmommy, and God rest your soul, wherever you may be. I know you're looking out for us. I am your host, the amazingly adorable Rebecca Thistle, podcasting to you live-ish from my kitchen table in my new apartment, which I have officially decided to name Jeffrey Thistlework, which is going to be a mouthful to say every single week, twice. Because I have this podcast and then I have the Purple Lit Nerd podcast. And so I'm going to have to say that for both. So, I don't know, maybe just Jeff Thistlework? I don't know. Sir Thistlework. Sir Jeffrey Thistle? Yeah, it should be Sir Jeffrey Thistlework. I should probably modify that. Anyways, so where have I been for the past couple of weeks? As much as I hate saying this, I just honestly did not feel like doing this podcast. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm... You ever, watch a car crash or something happen and you're completely powerless to stop it? Or you feel that way anyways. That's how I feel with my life right now. And this is something that has happened time and time again. I go through a crisis, it resolves, and then I go, okay, I'm not going to worry about anything at all whatsoever, and I just lay back and binge watch shit on Netflix and let until the next crisis pops up. And I honestly think that this is partially because of my ADD that this happens, and I'm Lord knows I'm trying to work with my doctor to fix this, but here's the deal, and this is what I want to talk about today, and I'm talking about it mostly for me. What I am saying just as much for my benefit as I'm saying it for anybody else's benefit. I honestly want to make that clear, because I think sometimes I go off on tangents and I get preachy and I sound like I know what I'm talking about, and if you know what you're talking about, obviously you don't have the problems that you're talking about. But the truth is I have these problems just as much as anybody else does. And I have them more than some people, less than others, but more than some. I have these problems of just sitting back and not giving a crap. And I can say that part of it is because of my ADD, part of it is because of depression or anxiety or whatever. Those contribute to it. Those all contribute to it in a very real way, and I do not want to pretend like they don't. It ultimately comes down to I let them control me. I let my psychopathologies control me sometime. The depression, the anxiety, the ADD, mainly the ADD, control my life, and that sucks. But ultimately it comes down to, just as much as the psychopathologies are to blame, so am I to blame. I hope that sentence made sense in my head, and then I started saying it and I feel like the verbs got mixed up. I myself am as much to blame for this fuck it all mood as my psychopathologies. I am as much to blame because I'm seeing this happen, and it's not a car crash. It's not a car crash. It is a bump in the road. Have you ever heard the parable about the hole in the road or the hole in the sidewalk? And it's chapter 1 is I'm walking down the road and there's a hole and I fall into it. And I am ashamed and I am mad at myself and I crawl out of the hole. Chapter 2, I'm walking down the same road. I see the same hole. I pretend it's not there and I fall into it. It takes me a little longer to get out of it. But I'm still ashamed. I'm still angry. And it sucks. Chapter 3. I added that, and it sucks. Chapter 3. I'm walking down the same road. I see the hole. I try to walk around the hole. And still somehow manage to fall into it. I am angry. I am ashamed. And it sucks. And I get out of the hole a little bit quicker than the other 2 times. Chapter 4. I go down a different road. That is everybody's life story at some point. And so here I am, these past couple of weeks, I've been watching myself. You know, when you have these dreams where you're like, it's you, but you have no control over you, and you're like watching yourself from a third person perspective do something. That's how I feel like my life is right now. Or how it has been for the past couple of weeks, where I'm going, what are you doing, Becca? You need to call Amerigroup. You need to call CPS. You need to call the Workforce Commission. You need to call housing. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to get trash bags and clean your apartment. You need to make this happen and that happen and the other thing happen. You need. But I sit back and I watch myself going, I know I need to do all that stuff, but hey, look, top 10 90s teen movies. I want to watch this on YouTube. And it's frustrating to have that going on in your head where you know you're supposed to be doing something and you don't want to do it. And that's what it's come down to with this podcast these past couple of weeks. So I don't know if you've ever been in that position where you're watching yourself do the same stupid thing that you know has screwed you over multiple times in the past. Where you go, no, what are you doing? Why? Stop! And you somehow can't stop yourself. So that's why I can't get on board with this, completely on board with the law of attraction. Like, I can get on, okay, let me back up. The law of attraction, if you don't already know, is this idea that your thoughts and your vibes, the energy you put out into the world, into the universe, it is what will like attracts like. So, if you're sending out a lot of negative vibes, you're angry all the time, you're gonna encounter situations and people that will continue to make you angry because they themselves are angry. And so like attracts like. But if you put out positive vibes and you put out positive thoughts and you put out abundance and all these sorts of vibrations, then all this good stuff will come to you. That's the basic law of attraction. I can't 100% get on board with that. Like, I can, because I do believe that what you give is what you get. And that's not necessarily simply a material thing. That's immaterial and metaphysical as well. But what you give is what you get. But the spirit in which you give it also matters. What I cannot get on board with are the people who take the law of attraction and say stupid, well-meaning, mind you, but stupid things. Like, all you have to do is write down on a piece of paper what you want X number of times, and then put that piece of paper away and forget about it, and then it'll happen. No, that's not how it works. Like, yes, you've got, like, for example, if, say, I wanted to use the law of attraction to manifest this podcast into something that earns me an income, and I wrote on a piece of paper 100 times, I will have a financially gainful podcast or something like that. And I write that out a bunch of times, and I fold it up and I put it in the closet and I forget about it. And then I never record it on the podcast, and I never promote my podcast, and I never do anything different or anything at all with regards to this podcast. Am I going to have a financially successful podcast or even a financially gainful podcast? No, I'm not. So, while yes, I think it's good to write these things down and put that thought in your mind and put that intention out into the universe, quote unquote, you've got to put in the work. And again, I'm saying this just as much to myself as I am to anybody else. So, I'm watching this wreck, or this crash course that my life is on, and I think, thankfully, I have recognized early enough on that I'm about to crash. And I don't think it's out of my control anymore. I don't think it's out of my control yet. Yes, I took a couple of weeks and I did fuck all. I really didn't mean to cuss this much in this show at all. So I apologize. But I did nothing, basically, for the past 2 weeks. I've done nothing. Arguably the past couple... I've actually done more in the past couple of days than I have in 2 weeks. But the past couple of days, ironically, we have had snow. So I shouldn't have been doing anything to begin with. Side note. But even though I haven't done anything, I think that even though I was on that crash course and that I'm in enough control that I can swerve and avoid that hole, maybe not altogether, but at least stop in front of the hole and turn around and take a different road. So, I'm not helpless. I am not helpless at all. And neither are you. Even if you've crashed into that hole, you can get out of it and you can go down a different road. And it won't be easy. It won't be perfect. But it will happen. So, don't panic. I just got my refund check and I'm seriously debating with myself about whether or not I want to take about, 50 or so bucks out of it and get a tattoo. I have a couple of ideas for tattoos, actually. One of them I'd like to put in large, friendly letters. And true nerds will understand the significance of this. I want to put in large, friendly letters somewhere on my left arm the words, "Don't panic." But